Good evening, Central Indiana, and welcome to our newest edition of Sports Nuts on Porch Time. I almost said Sports Time on Porch Nuts. I got twisted around there for a second. I was trying to think of two things at once and almost messed it up. So, got a great show tonight. Really excited to have Sam Carmichael in, the owner of the Martinsville Country Club. This is kind of a special interest for me because I don't know, the country club is it's my favorite course I've ever played. I love playing out there, and I just want to make sure.
Dean, you got to get the name right. It's the golf club now.
It's the golf club now?
Yeah.
Okay, I did
Been
not know
that way for about 20 years.
Has it really?
Yeah.
The Martinsville Golf Club?
Yeah, so
Wow.
we could get more players. The country club specifies private.
People thought it was private.
And it's not private, but it was a country club back when Mr. Kennedy owned it.
When he very first had it?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that it's still open and all what all's going on. So I want to make sure that you had a platform to talk to everybody. We've got about 8,000 followers on our page, so I feel like we can spread the info fairly well and get the word out and talk to everybody. So, So one of the things, let's see, how many people we got on here?
About 14.
14. All right. So
14 that's on the thing, but you don't know how many's watching without clicking on it. You know.
Yeah.
What I mean?
So let's go right to the start and make sure that we get the information out right off the bat. So I heard that the golf club is going out of business.
There's a lot of rumors out there. It's going out of business. It's been sold. I can't keep up with the rumors, but we are in business. We are there, and we will probably be there for a long time. And so the highway is coming, but we are open, and I will tell the folks how to get there. I think that's one of our biggest problems, Dean, is how to get there. You know, they got a sign up at 144 that says 37 is closed. Yeah, but that's not true.
It's not accurate.
It's they're using the northbound lane, and they used it as two lanes, a north and a southbound. So you can come down here. We're not, they're trying to choke off Martinsville.
Yeah.
Not only the golf course, but all the other businesses down here.
I talked to Julie last fall. It was around middle of October, and I was playing, and it was through the week, and so I was one of the last people off the course, and she was, kind of closing down, and I was talking to her for a second, and she said a lot of the play comes from the north, comes from Indianapolis and down, right?
Exactly. We have a lot of play from Greenwood area, the Indianapolis area, and they can get there without any problem. All they have to do is come down to where 37 kind of veers to the right and goes on Main Street or Old State Road 37 North. And you're looking at the Prince of Peace Church.
Yeah.
And the minute you see the Prince of Peace Church, you want to turn to the right. I have 3 signs out there now, and so it's very simple, very easy to get there. But just focus on the Prince of Peace Church, and then make an immediate right. And don't get on Country Club Road.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Mistake.
They put a stop sign up there now at Country Club Road because there's a lot of people that are traveling that way by way of the new access road that they put in. So they mistakenly get on that, and once you get on that, you're lost.
Yeah, you're twisted around. So I made this map off of Google Earth, and obviously it's not updated. So what you see circled is the country club, or the golf course. That's the entrance to the golf course.
That we know, yeah.
Yeah, that's always been there the way it's been for basically 100 years, right?
Yeah, since 1925.
Yeah. So,
And but now you go down to where it kind of dead ends, and you make that right-hand turn, which you are forced to, and you just take a right. It looks like a construction zone, but it's they have built a road that goes in for the for the golf course.
Yeah.
And actually, they're using the entrance for the church.
For Prince of
So,
Peace.
yeah, for Prince of Peace. So you just want to make that first right.
So the southbound lane of 37 is completely gone. I mean, they've bulldozed it up, they've torn it up, and the northbound lanes are separated, and there's one lane in each direction. So this lane is closed all the way to 144
Right.
up there.
Yeah.
So you got to travel on the other side this way. So you go past the golf course and you turn on Morgan Street. There's a big set of like construction barrels there, right here.
Yeah, you can't go any farther.
Yeah, you can't go any further. You're stopped. So you make the right hand turn onto Morgan Street. Construction barrels there.
Sorry.
And you turn into Prince of Peace, and it looks like you're going into the parking lot of Prince of Peace. But what they've done is they've extended and made a new access road
Right into the golf course.
right into the golf course that runs parallel with that. So you'll go actually past the golf course. There's construction barrels there. You can't go any further. You turn right. You go, what do you think, 50 yards, maybe 60 yards?
Yeah, maybe 50 yards at the most.
Yeah. And then you make a hard right, and you feel like you're going into the parking lot of Prince of Peace. And then they made this new road right here that just keeps going, and it actually runs parallel with what used to be 37 and what will eventually be 69. And that takes you right to the golf course, and you're where you want to be.
Yep, you're right there where you got a lot of fun ahead of you.
That's right.
Because it's in good shape. We've been mowing greens and fairways, and the course is very good right now.
In good shape.
Yeah.
So how early do you start? Like when the first grass comes up, like the first time it gets warm, you that's when you start mowing right then.
Yeah, we've been mowing. I've been mowing greens for probably 3 weeks.
Really?
So yeah, once the greens they start growing, you start mowing, and otherwise, if you get behind, and then you got a problem trying to get them cut down to where they got a good speed.
So if you get behind on it, then you got all the grass clippings on top, and you can't get it's probably hard to catch up and get caught up to where you need to be.
Well, if you try to bring them down, then you start scalping the grass, and then you start killing the grass. So
yeah.
So you gotta be on it consistently, and we mow every day.
Really?
Unless there's frost like we're supposed to have tomorrow.
Yeah.
28 degrees tonight. That'll kind of discourage the grass from growing.
Wasn't it just 75 degrees 2 days ago?
Yeah, it was. Everybody had shorts on,
Yeah.
and tomorrow morning it's going to be frosty, and then the next morning it's going to be 24 degrees.
That's no good. That's not golfing weather.
So that means it's not going to warm up till about 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then it's not going to get real warm.
Real warm. So then, of course, then you probably push back the first. Do you have people coming out trying to play on days like that?
Well, most of the time people see the weather, and of course you can't let them on with the frost.
Yeah.
Because when you have frost on the grass, then you break the grass off, and it kills it.
Kills it.
So you have to be very careful. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just think that you can play regardless. But if you do, then you have dead grass, and it's black everywhere.
And it probably takes forever to.
It doesn't
grow
come
back.
out of it till fall. So it's you can't get on with frost, and we have people that don't quite understand that, and
Yeah.
a lot of new golfers out there that but who wants to go out there when it's that cold anyhow?
Anyway, right.
Not me.
So I've always wondered when, I've seen people do it before where they take a 9-iron and they take a divot about this long. When you take a big divot and you don't replace it, how long does it take for that grass to grow back? How long does it take to repair that?
Well, that doesn't come back for all summer.
Really?
And if you have a real nice club like a country club that has a lot of money, then they have people that go out and fill that up with dirt or sand, and then it has a tendency to recover a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But if you take a big divot out and don't replace it, it takes a while to get it back. And you need to replace all the divots and stomp it in. You just don't lay it back down on the ground. You take your foot and you stomp it down to try to get those roots back into the ground.
And so if you do that, then how long does that take to repair itself?
Then you're looking at basically a couple weeks for it to recover. And grow back together.
And then what about a ball mark on the green if you don't fix it, if you just let it go?
Ball marks are, that's the one thing that, Dean, that a lot of people just ignore. I personally, if I make a ball mark, I want people to see that I hit the green.
Hey, look,
so I'm up there repairing it.
Yeah.
And so, ball marks, if you make a ball mark, don't repair it. It probably is going to be there for a good month. And then we go out in the morning and we repair ball marks that people
have left.
And sometimes people don't do it on purpose. They just forget that they made that great shot. They're so excited about trying to get that putt in the hole that they forget to repair the ball mark.
I got a chance for a 7 here. I didn't even get up
right.
So, and then here's the other thing I've always wondered. What's the proper way? I don't think a lot of people know. I'm not sure I know the right way to. So you go behind the tall side of it.
Well, when the ball hits the green, it pushes the grass backwards.
Yeah.
So you want to bring that part back to the original part and then just kind of knead it in and then tap it down with your putter or step on it with your foot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take a lot of probing and all that type thing to make it. The ball mark pushes the grass forward. You bring that back and then just knead the grass in.
Kind of around the edges
and
of
then you're good to go.
And tamp it back down.
Yeah.
Let's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's get caught up with chat here and see who all's on.
Slide that. Might as well slide that OBS back down so you'll be able to do chat. Just drag it over to your other computer. Sorry, D. There you go. Now you finger scroll once you get over there. Jeff's got one question. Your mouse is able. There you go. There you go.
All right. Jeff Price said, how many of the girls that played for Sam and IU went on to play on the LPGA tour?
Well, I think I had about 6 of the girls that went on. Erica Wyckoff, Michelle Redmond, Karen Dennison, and they.
I didn't realize Michelle was from IU. They went to IU.
Yeah, Michelle was from Zanesville, Ohio. I recruited her out of Ohio, and she came over here and had a great career on the LPGA tour. Won twice and played on 4 Solheim Cup teams and was an outstanding player.
Yeah, and then
Erica Wyckoff was a great player and. Her career was hindered because of injury. She hurt her wrist and had to have major surgery on her wrist, and then following that, unfortunately she fell and messed her knee up, and so athletes when they have injuries, sometimes it just takes a while to recover, and it ruins their whole career,
Yeah, and especially a wrist injury in golf.
Yeah.
That's hard to recover from.
She was an outstanding player. She won she's in the IU Hall of Fame along with Michelle, and was a 3-time All-American. Won the Big Ten, won the Big Ten 3 times, and numerous tournaments, and just was a great player.
And she was in the early '90s, right?
Yeah, God, that goes back. I can't remember these days. But she was, probably very early, late '80s and early '90s.
Yeah,
just outstanding player from from Indiana, and won everything in Indiana and dominated the state
in
as
the
an
juniors
amateur.
and stuff. Yeah,
I started teaching her when she was like 13 years old.
Really?
Her father brought her down. She and her sister from Hartford City.
Up by Muncie?
Yes, and they would drive down for a lesson at the Martinsville Golf Club, and I would teach, and then they'd drive all the way back. But she took her lessons serious, and when she came back the next time, you knew she had done her work.
She had done her homework. She had worked on what she needed to.
Yeah.
And can you tell, like, when you first saw her, could you just tell she had that she?
Not really. She was a wild swinger, and it was I had to kind of calm her down, slow her down, and teach her a little bit of the swing fundamentals, and and which was amazing because she went on that summer and won the state junior in their first year competing. I think she was 13, and unbelievable.
That's funny.
And but after you watched her play a little bit, yeah, you knew she had it.
You could kind of tell.
Yeah, she could play.
We had Coach Wright and Bud Wright. He's the winningest football coach in Indiana history, and he's still active. And he had a kid, Alex Smith, that went to IU.
Sure.
And I asked him, I said, when could you tell like that he was the guy? And he said in third grade. The first time I saw him in third grade. Yeah, he said he was just a superior athlete above and beyond. And I always think it's interesting to say, like, some people have to work for it. I mean, everybody has to work for it, but some people are just have the natural ability.
Natural.
Yeah, they just have the natural ability. And I'm always interested to see.
You know, in golf, you got to have the mental too.
Yeah,
it's so important. The composure, the mental, the being able to take the pressure. You know, when you're coming down those last few holes, you know those hands are shaking, and it doesn't look like it on TV when you see those guys coming down, but they are. They're stirring inside like you can't believe.
Yeah. And do you think the key to that is just staying in the shot that you're in now? I always feel like if you get to hole 7 and you say, man, I'm playing like my best round. If I make a par here and then I make a birdie on it and then I do that, and you start thinking 3 or 4 holes ahead, that's when it starts going.
Yeah,
sideways.
You don't want to get too far ahead in golf. Just the next shot is the most important one.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta maintain that composure and not get upset over a bad shot. You know, maybe you don't hit it good, but then you go track it down and you get it up and down out of the bunker and make your par, and things are okay.
And get out of there.
But if you go and you're mad after you hit the shot and you go up and you're indecisive on how you're gonna play the next shot, then you know it can add up into a quick double bogey and it's all over.
Do you think that's what causes a lot of bad shots is indecisive? Like if people are around the green and they think, well, I should do this or I should do it, and then they end up doing half of one and half of the other because they can't decide, and so they end up doing something that they shouldn't even be trying.
Well, if you're talking about the good players, I don't think so, but I think some of your average golfers, people just in general public, I'm not sure that they think the shot through properly and play the shot that they need to. They try to do something spectacular instead of just playing the safe shot.
That's what Bob and I are about the same, so it's fun to play with him because, like, you know, I think if somebody's 15 shots better than you, it's no fun for either person because you can't really compete, you know. And so Bob and I score about the same. We're usually within 2 or 3 shots of each other, so it's fun to play with him. But we'll hit one in the trees or something, and instead of taking your medicine and just punching it back out, we always try something, and then it goes wrong, and we always laugh and go, yeah, because I can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I could do that, I wouldn't be over here in the trees anyway. You know, if I could hit a low hook around this tree, you know, I wouldn't be over here in the first place, you know? And so we always laugh after we try something like that and it doesn't work. It's like, well, yeah, I should
when the ball comes bounding back at you as it hits the tree, and you have to duck.
That's a bad choice.
Yeah, that was not a good decision.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I heard is that the golf course is going to lose the first 2 holes because of construction.
No, we're not losing any holes. In fact, I was concerned about the first hole for quite some time, but I feel like it's going to stay in good shape, and you know it's a hole where a lot of people hit it to the right, and so I was concerned that maybe the highway was going to be
too close.
But I think it's going to be just fine. I don't think there's going to be any issues.
And then there's a lot of pine trees that are gone along there, but you can fill it in with more, right? Or
yeah, the pine trees that they took out really are far enough away that it's, and we still have a number of pines and deciduous trees there
to block.
Yeah,
out.
I don't think it's going to be, like I say, I don't think it's going to be an issue, and we've had people playing already, and they're not hitting it out where the dirt is, where the construction's going on.
That's good. So Jeff says, where did it go? Riding versus walking in a cart. You think? What do you think you score better when you walk?
Well, I don't think so. I think you can play just as well riding as long as you, the whole thing is just taking your time and assessing your shot and maybe getting out of the cart and walking to your ball with a couple of clubs, which helps speed the play. Instead of riding to the ball with your partner and watching him hit, and then riding over to your ball, and then you get out and you gotta figure out what club to hit. Sometimes it's a lot better, and it gives you that walking, that relaxation of getting while you're at his ball. Get out of your cart, take a. If you're 150 yards, basically what you're going to hit.
Yeah.
So take a couple clubs, walk over, and then be ready to play when it's your next shot.
And kind of assess it as you're getting there and do your kind of pre-shot. Yeah.
Of course, the old days of when you had a caddy was a lot of fun, know, and we don't have that anymore. And you've got to go to big time clubs to get that feel. But it was a special time when you had the caddies out there and they carried the clubs and
helped you out.
Yeah, it was neat.
So John Baston says, how many beers should I drink between holes?
Well, I think some of the guys drank maybe a few too many. I think I'd hold them down to about one every 3 holes.
One every 3 holes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure John even drinks beer. I've never seen him do that or been with him when he's done it. So I think that may just be a urban legend. Jeff says, do the high school teams still pick up sticks on the course?
No, they don't come out and pick up sticks anymore.
Yeah.
Most of the team plays at Foxcliff all the time, and they don't come over. But those were good days when they picked up sticks.
Yeah.
They came up, but it was a good thing. I think the kids learned how to work, and they earned what they the ability to come out and play the course.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing. It's too bad they don't do it anymore.
I always felt like it was a fair trade off. Like if you're going to play there the whole season, you can come out a couple of days and pick up sticks and do some maintenance and do some. I always felt like it was a fair trade. Yeah,
and then you're having the other teams in there that are playing, and no one's paying for it.
Right.
So I thought it was a good thing. We did that for a long time. That was something that started back in the 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. You got one more comment. Michelle, she watches from Iowa every week. She grew up here in Martinsville and she moved out to Iowa, and so she's one of our big supporters here on Porch Time. And so she's on today under an alias because she's probably in Facebook jail if we want to know the truth.
On 2 accounts.
Yeah. So it says Rusty, but that's actually Michelle from Iowa on a borrowed phone. So hello, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. Hey, this lady knows something. With the Masters starting tomorrow, can you tell us what Augusta was really like? So that was one of the things. I didn't know that until I started doing a little research that you played in the Masters in, 62? Is that right?
I think somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time ago.
Wow. So, yeah, tell us about that. What's that whole experience like?
Well, I think Augusta, when I played there, wasn't like it is today. That it's such a big time, tournament. I think it was probably special then, but I don't know that I really realized how special it was
at the time.
And the golf course is not nearly as good as it is today. They've done a lot of improvement on it, but it was a great experience. And what you don't see on TV is the topography of the course. It's like the 18th hole. When you watch them come up the 18th hole, it's a steep hill coming up there. It's not it looks on TV, it looks like a flat, very slow, gradual, but it's not. It's really uphill.
How would you compare it to 16?
Well, if you would extend 16 out at Martinsville and make it about another 100 yards and make it about 30 feet higher, that would be what it would
Really?
be like.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
It's a climb.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. If you got a bag on your shoulders, it would be a heck of a walk.
It'd be hard getting up there.
Yeah, no, it's the whole course is very very hilly and a lot more topography than what you see on TV.
Who do you think? Who would you pick? Who you like for the Masters?
Oh, I don't know. There's just so many good players that I at this point, I mean, Dustin Johnson's awful good, but he's not playing really well right now.
Yeah.
But it's the person who's going to make the putts. The greens are so undulating and so fast. It's like putting on a billiard table upside down.
Yeah.
And then they're you got all the hills on them, so they're really quick. You don't realize it until you actually see the course.
Yeah.
And it's too bad that more people can't get in to see the course. And I suppose they're probably restricting play the spectators this year, or excuse me, the patrons.
The patrons, yeah, yeah.
I got to say that correctly.
Sure. Yeah. So speaking of that, golf had kind of taken overall kind of a decline, right? Like fewer and fewer people were playing, and then COVID hit, and it went crazy. Is that accurate?
Well, we saw a lot of new people playing last year due to COVID because they were locked at home.
Yeah.
They had to work from home, and so they wanted to get out, and so there was a lot of new people that got involved in the game, and so yes, we had a good year last year as far as play, and so a lot of new people got introduced to golf, which is great. And maybe got off of the iPads and all those things and started playing golf.
Yeah, Bob called me early in the spring and he said, "Hey, let's go hit the small ball." And I said, "I don't think we can. Like we're on lockdown." And he said, "We're outside. Why can't we?" I said, "I don't know. I guess you're right. Yeah." So we called and got a time, and it was packed. Like there were people, and yeah.
Well, thank goodness that the Marion County closed their courses. And in April and maybe a little bit in March, and they closed their courses, and we saw people we had never seen before.
That's funny.
And so it was busy because we were open. Other courses weren't, but we were very careful. And that was before masks, but we were sanitizing all the carts and we sanitized everything inside and we made sure that everybody was safe and so people would bring their families out, and it was good for people. They got outside and was able to enjoy themselves a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's the perfect sport for a situation like that, because like you said, if you bring your family out, you're still in your own little bubble. You're only interacting with the people in your family, and you're outside, and you know what I mean. So you go to that hole, and with the bumpers in the hole, where you don't have to touch the flag and everything,
right.
You're not really interacting with anybody else while you're out there.
You're right. I put the sponges in the hole and cut them out, and the ball would go in, but so you did get to make a putt.
Yeah.
Some courses blocked off their holes, and you couldn't really make it. They'd hit the flagpole and come back out.
Yeah.
And if you hit the flagpole, that was in. But I didn't think that was in, so I got some sponges and I cut them and made them fit down in the hole so that an inch or 2 inches, so that the ball could actually go in, and you could just pick the ball out of the hole
without touching it. Yeah. Jeff said I saw the Martinsville Golf Club is part of the course punch card this year.
Yes, we're on the channel. What is it?
Is it channel 6?
Yeah, channel 6. One of the channels up in Indianapolis. Yes, we did that last year.
Yeah,
and we decided that we would do it again this year.
So, with all the new people that came to the course, what kind of feedback did you get from first-time players that had never been there? I'm sure they loved it.
the feedback was incredible because it was kind of like people discovered something that they didn't know really existed because we never really advertised a lot. It's always been word of mouth, and people couldn't believe. And of course, what county is more beautiful than Morgan County?
Yeah.
The hills and the valleys, and the golf course sits on those hills, and the creek runs through the golf course, and the goldfish are still in there from the old fisheries years ago, and it's just it's really a special place.
Chip Keller says it's the best public course in Indiana, thanks to Sam.
I agree.
Well,
yeah. I mean, Julie said it's a Channel 8 golf card. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I'm not just saying that it's my favorite course to try to entice you to come on the show and all. I mean, it really is my favorite course.
Well, it's fun to play. It doesn't beat you up.
Right.
And we have been able to maintain it in good condition. We have a little problem with finding help right now.
Really?
So if anybody needs a job, and some of these teenagers need to get out and learn to work a little bit. So
I may send my daughter your way. She needs a summertime employment to keep her busy. So
well, I've had 3 young ladies who have done carts the last 2 years, and they have done an absolute fabulous job. And for a 16-year-old coming out doing some carts, and 18, 19-year-old boys that want to earn some money for college or for gasoline in their cars, it's a good place to work.
Yeah, you make $100 and you can buy a half a gallon of gas now.
Yeah.
I won't go down that road.
Jeff's got a good question there.
Oh, that is a good question. Who's the most famous person that's played at the country club?
Well, back in 1949, Mr. Kennedy, who owned the course, Walter A. Kennedy built the golf course in 1925, and he owned 2 of the bigger sanitariums here in Martinsville.
Yeah.
But Mr. Kennedy had Byron Nelson in to play an exhibition, and along with Byron, also he had Peggy Kirkbell, who was a nationally known female player, and who eventually bought Pine Needles and Pinehurst.
Okay.
And she and her husband ran that for years. And also Alice O'Neill at the time, who married Pete Dye and was in the golf course design business. And then completing the foursome was John David, who was a long ball hitter at that time in the world. He was an amateur from Indianapolis.
Okay.
And he was an outstanding golfer, and those 4 people played a 18-hole exhibition there.
Nice. Wow. That's pretty cool. I had no idea Byron Nelson had played there. Yeah.
It was pretty exciting to see him play.
Yeah. What'd he think of the course?
Byron had, of course, it was 9 holes in those days, but Byron enjoyed the golf course very much, and some years later, I was 10 years old at the time when Byron was there. And some years later, I met Mr. Nelson at a golf tournament. I was an amateur and he was giving an exhibition. I introduced myself to him, and he immediately remembered my dad, Don Carmichael, and he remembered the golf course, and he even remembered some of the holes, and I couldn't believe that. And this is maybe 10 years later.
And all the golf he's played, and all the courses
I mean, he's played all over the world and everywhere, and he remembered that the golf course there.
That's pretty cool.
And remembered Mr. Kennedy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I was amazed. I couldn't believe that, because I just went up and introduced myself and said I'm from Martinsville and saw you play in 1949 at the club in an exhibition. He had what a memory.
That's crazy. So, and then the back 9 is the original 9. Is that right?
That's right. The back 9, and then when my dad and I and my brother, we bought the course from the Kennedy family. Then we started the new 9, which is the front 9 now, in 1971.
71. And how long did that take from breaking ground to
We
completion?
opened it, I think, late 72, so it took about a year.
And the topography was pretty much as it is, or did you have to do much to it?
We had to move a lot of dirt. There was
Really?
a lot of dirt moved. Like number one, that was pretty much of a hillside, and they brought those earth moving machines in there and moved a lot of dirt and leveled that out to where it was a playable hole without being on a goat hillside.
So Chip said, did you play with Del Morey, MHS grad? Played professionally in the 50s.
Dale was a person that I caddied for.
Really?
And Dale would come through Martinsville, and he would hit balls, and I would shag for him. And when I was 13, I think I caddied for him at Hillcrest Country Club in the State Open, which he won.
Nice.
And but I only played with Dale maybe one time, and that was qualifying for a U.S. Open at the Country Club of Indianapolis.
Okay.
But I caddied a lot for him, and I definitely idolized him, and he was, and I ended up going to LSU probably because Dale went to LSU.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So, what's the course record?
Course record is now Sean. Shot. I'm slipping on his last name right now, but he's from Greenwood. Was an excellent player, Sean Rowland.
Okay.
And he shot a little 60 in our fall invitational 2 years ago.
Nice.
And
Wow.
that's the course record. Quite a round of golf.
Yeah, because par's what, 71?
71.
Yeah. Sean Rowe and Julie just said.
Yeah.
So, what's your best round out there?
I don't know. Probably, 66, 67. I never played the golf course.
Really?
When we built the golf course, I never played it. I was 29 years old when we built the course, and I never played the course as an 18-hole golf course till the late 70s.
Really?
And then after that, then of course I went to IU and coached, and also was up there. So I basically gave up playing golf when I was 29 years of age.
Did you really?
Yeah, I played very, very little.
Yeah. So you mostly just teach now?
I did until they took my driving range. I taught, but I work on the golf course. I work in the pro shop. I'm there 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm, all the time. So.
Julie said
Julie's both. Yeah.
She said you shot 59 when you played the back nine twice, didn't you?
No, I shot 60.
Yeah.
I shot 29-31.
Julie got any game?
Julie, she's not a bad player.
She's not bad. Yeah. She's not bad. I was reading some of her stuff.
Yeah, Julie was an excellent player and had a great career in playing, and probably could have continued on a lot, but she was smart, went to Stanford.
I was just going to say, she was some little
got
school.
an MBA from IU and wanted to be in business. So, pretty smart girl.
Yeah, not a bad run there. Go to Stanford and then an MBA from IU.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
But she could play, and it was fun teaching her and watching her win tournaments and becoming a Indiana Hall of Fame member.
Yeah. Was it hard coaching her father-daughter, or
No, I don't think so. I think that we did very well together.
Yeah.
I don't think that we had a difficult time at all. I think she was very teachable, and she wanted to learn and wanted to play better, and so
it's a big part of it.
I think we had a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah. How'd you get the job at IU? How'd that come about?
Well, I don't know. It was I kind of always wanted to coach a little bit, and the job became open in the fall, and so I went down and applied for it, and I'm sure a good friend of mine had some help getting me the job.
Yeah.
by the name of Bob Knight.
Robert Knight.
Since he was at the university at the time, and we were good friends and played a lot of golf together. And I really didn't tell him that I was going down. I think he heard that to apply because I heard the job was open, and I went down because I wanted to teach people who had time to really work at it. I love giving lessons to the amateurs, but most of them don't really have time to really take the lesson to heart and really get out and work on it. So I thought I wanted to see what I could do with maybe some kids that had the time, and this was what they wanted to do. So that's why I went down and applied for the job. I only figured I'd be there 3 or 4 years, and ended up being there 21 years.
Yeah, and so I would say 14 All-Americans, 7 Big Ten Players of the Year. They did all right. They listened to you a little bit.
They bought in, and they were great kids, and I still stay in contact with nearly all of them.
Yeah. And
my wife is on Facebook with all of them, and now they're all married with kids and jobs, and it was great. It was a great period of my life.
And then do you have any of their kids coming to you for lessons? The second generation coming?
I did a few times, but not as much. No, because they're all out of state and other areas of the country.
Yeah. Chip said you could probably shoot 60 with a 5-iron and a putter.
Chip, I think you could give me. I need to give you 2 up, or no, you need to give me 2 up a side. Because I think we played in league together the other day or last year, and you whooped Brooke Hine and I pretty good.
Was Chip sandbagging a little bit?
Well, he played awful well. I think he shot about 38 that night with about a 6 handicap.
Nice.
So was that any good?
Yeah, that's not too bad. Bill Powers said that's one great guy you're interviewing there, Dean. He says, "Hi, Sam."
Hi, Bill. Great guy he is.
Yeah, Bill follows us on Porch Time a lot. We do a lot of fundraisers and stuff for families around the community. We've had, I don't know how many fundraisers we've had, 7 or 8.
Yeah,
we've raised over $100,000. So one family, husband had cancer and was close to dying, and we raised some money for them. We got a scoreboard for the League of Miracles up in Mooresville. A kid that Kevin had coached in Little League was part of the League of Miracles, and he wanted to get a scoreboard, and so we were able to raise money for that. And then we had one of our good friends, the very first auction we had, one of our good friends passed away unexpectedly. He's my age. I went to high school with him. I've known him since I was 7 or 8 years old, and we just tried to do a fundraiser and say, can this work? And we raised like $15,000.
Yeah, we're up to about 150,000.
150 now. Yeah, so
that's terrific.
Yeah, so it's really good. And Bill's
always
yeah, he's always on helping us with those. Either donating stuff or buying stuff or helping us out. So it's Bill's a good guy. He helps us a lot. So one of the things I was going to ask you about is the 60 and 61, you won all the amateur everything in Indiana, the junior tournament, the Open, the Indiana Open. So then you get to go to the national tournament, right, in 62 or 61, I guess, and you finish runner up. Do you remember that?
In the national amateur?
Yeah, national amateur.
I went to play at Pebble Beach in the national. I was in the quarterfinals. Nicholas beat me 2-1 in the quarterfinals.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. It's Jack is the best. He is what a player he was.
So that's gonna lead into my next question. You think Jack or Tiger? Who do you think's better?
Well, growing up in the era of Jack, and watching him play, I think Jack is the greatest player that ever played. He won 18 majors, but he finished second 21 times in
a lot
the
of
majors.
people don't know that.
And and plus the fact that and you can't take anything away from Tiger.
Right.
Tiger is a great player, But the players that Jack played against,
That's what
Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, he had Lee Trevino, he had Tom Watson, and all those guys won at least 5 or 6 majors during the same time. And they were players that did not back them down. And then you can throw in a Billy Casper, another guy who won about 4 or 5 majors, and so I don't know. I felt like I feel like the players of Jack's generation were probably maybe this is hard to say, but maybe more competitive, tougher, and he had more competition. But what Tiger did is, I mean, he won all 4 majors and basically a same year period, you know, and to do that and to win the National Open, I think he won it by 15 shots at Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did is unbelievable. And you know, he's had a lot of injuries and a lot of problems, and so no doubt how great he is. Yeah.
And have you ever played Pebble Beach?
Oh yeah, I played Pebble Beach a number of times. We used to play the Bing Crosby tournament there when I was on tour.
Yeah.
And of course, that's where Jack beat me also, 2-1.
2-1 there.
So so I know Pebble Beach.
And how good? I mean, how good was Jack when you walked on the course? Did you think like, I got no chance against this guy, or did you feel like you could be playing?
Well,
with him?
when I played Jack in the amateur, I thought I could play, but I remember qualifying around the state as a teenager, a 16, 17-year-old. For trying to qualify for like the National Amateur or the National Open, and we would always qualify in Cincinnati, and I remember seeing Jack when he was 16 years old, and he looked like he was 21, and he had the mentality of somebody that was 30 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he was. I mean, we were just kids, but he was a man at that time. You know, so you just knew at the very beginning that he was going to be what he was going to be.
He was a different dude.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was outstanding.
And I like you said, I've always felt like, I mean, everybody gets caught up in the moment, and so everybody says, "Oh, Tiger, 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 Tiger." But I feel like it was Tiger and Phil, and that was it. Like if Phil didn't beat him, nobody else was going to. Whereas Jack had, like you said, there's 6 or 7, 8 guys and he had to beat those guys week in and week out. And I'm not, like you said, I'm not trying to take anything away from Tiger.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he won by 15 shots. What did he win the Masters by the one time?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's won 14 majors. So you know, and like I say, he's had so many
injuries,
problems in life that and today to be the other thing is you know, Jack had to do a lot of things to make money. He didn't have the endorsements like they have today. You don't get $1 million from Rolex to wear a watch, you know, in those days, and the money wasn't great, so he had to play a lot. He had to get into architecture. He had to do a lot of different things. So he was kind of spread out a little bit with his golf. So you know, where Tiger could just sign contracts.
Yeah.
But to make, you know, he's a billionaire. So
I think, if I remember right, I think Tiger signed a $100 million contract with Nike before he ever, like the day he turned pro.
I think so. After he won the National Amateur.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got $100 million. Bam. You know what I mean? He's set for life. So and that was one of the questions I was going to ask you in the 60s when you played on tour. So a guy now can go out. Chip, I'm going to get to that question in a minute. And Kevin, we talked about Byron Nelson playing at the course just a few minutes ago. Pretty cool story of him coming to the course. A guy today can go out there and play every week, finish in 17th, 18th, 20th place, make a good living. You never know his name.
Oh, he become a millionaire.
Yeah, he become a millionaire, finishing 20. You couldn't do that in the 60s. There wasn't enough money.
I finished second 3 times, and I made 2,000, 4,000, and 8,000. And today they make 750,000
for finishing
so
second.
You know it.
$14,000.
I don't know how that money translates, but it didn't seem to go that far back in those days.
The guy parking the cars makes that day.
And you feel like Tiger had a lot to do with that?
Oh, I don't think there's any. Arnold started it.
Okay.
I mean, you can't ever take anything away from Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
And plus the fact he was just a great individual. He was just as nice a person as he was a great player.
Yeah.
And he started the money, and then of course Jack came along and built it even more, and then of course Tiger is, as Phil said on TV in a documentary or something, that he always enjoyed playing against Tiger, and he appreciates how great he was and how he made the money what it is today.
Yeah. I think it was Justin Thomas said something a couple earlier this spring, and he just basically said, I'm here because of Tiger, because if it wasn't for Tiger, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Golf wouldn't be this popular. I wouldn't be able to make the money, and everything.
Oh.
And so I think the young guys really.
I think they appreciate what he did, and they know that. And the same with back in the '60s, we appreciated what Arnold did. Yeah. I can remember playing in the first $50,000 tournament. I mean, that was the total purse. That was a big one. And then we played in the Las Vegas tournament for $77,777.77.
That's funny.
And they flew us from White Marsh, Pennsylvania, out there for that tournament because it was a big thing and everybody went. But that was the biggest money tournament of the year.
And that's the whole purse. That's not what the winner gets. That's the whole.
No, that was the whole total purse.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that back in the '60s, when people were playing, you played, but not everybody got a check. You could play and make the cut, but only 30 players, about 30 players out of the 60 that made the cut would get paid. So you played the last two rounds. If you didn't play well, you played for nothing.
For free, yeah. So, you talk about pressure when you're standing, you said, it's not just about winning. It's about, am I going to get paid this week?
Yeah, you just get some gas money,
to get to the next tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. Chip said, did you coach Leanne Harden?
I taught Leanne as when she was here. As I started teaching her when she was like 12 years old, I think it's 12 or 13. So, and then when Leanne went to Duke, she found another instructor.
This is probably an unfair question, but who's the best player you've ever coached or taught?
Well, if you go by records, I'd have to say Sean McKeel, who won the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Sean was
I forgot about
Sean was a freshman when I took over coaching at IU, and Sean and I worked, and actually before he won the PGA, he came into town for a week, and we worked on his game for a week, and then when he won the one PGA. And it's always been interesting because I saw when he was playing, when we were actually working on the short game more than anything, but I noticed when he hit balls, his arms kind of separated at the top of the swing. And so I put a band around his arms to keep them together, and we hit 7-irons, and we must hit 1,000 7-irons that week, trying to get the feel for keeping the elbows a little closer, not separating, and getting the club off plane and offline. And of course, on the 72nd hole, he hit a 7-iron about 2 inches from the hole, and that was what a sweetheart that was, because he didn't have to putt it. All he had to do is tap it in.
Yeah. And that's gotta make you feel good. I mean, that's gotta make you feel good when you see that and say, like,
yes.
You had something to do with
that.
Oh,
that was great. And Sean was a great player and really a great young man and a great family.
Yeah.
So
I forgot that he went to IU, and I remember as soon as you said his name, I remember that.
Yeah.
But so that's pretty cool. So Jeff says, what are the requirements for a golf course to host a PGA or LPGA event? Is it length? Is it difficulty? How do they kind of determine whether a course is good enough to host?
Well, it's hard to say. Well, as far as that, yes, you have got to have the length, and you got to have the difficulty, and in a lot of cases, I think the prestige of the past has applied, and you've got to be in a good location where you can bring in the gallery, bring in the money. So I'm sure that has a big impact, is being able to have the gallery and their.
I never really thought about that, but you'd have to have a course where there's separation between the holes, right? You couldn't have like where 3 and 8 kind of run parallel at Martinsville. You would have to have holes that have more separation, right?
You'd have to have more separation, and you have to have a big parking facility. You have to have areas where they can put out the big corporate tents, where they make the big money, bring in the money to pay these guys $1.8 million for finishing winning.
For winning, yeah. That's okay. Hey, look at this guy. This is David Boland. Sam, I'm scheduled to follow you next week here on Porch Time. I wanted to take this opportunity to apologize for cutting down a Christmas tree on the course along with John Lake.
Bond and Pinkston.
Well, I remember when they cut it down. We went, but there's a new name that I didn't know. Lake was involved with that one.
You can stop at the station down there.
God dang! I'll be down at the fire station to check this out
to collect some reimbursement.
That's so good.
If I remember that story right, Lake was the instigator of that. He said he got them together and said, I don't know. I'm kidding.
We went down to the school and found the tree. My brother and I.
That's
Ron.
Where'd they get it from?
They got it off a number, it was between 15 and 14.
Okay.
And it was a beautiful tree.
Big pine tree.
And it just broke. It was a new one. We had, that was in the early, mid-70s probably. And my brother and I were just planting all the trees that are out there. And this one probably was a nice 6-footer. Spread out real nice, and it was a blue spruce.
That's funny. Well, David's going to be sitting in that seat next week, so we'll leave an envelope for you.
Yeah,
that's funny. Chip says, "How'd the show with Coach Knight come about? The Golf Your Way. How did that start? Whose idea was that, and how'd you guys get started with that?"
Well, that was a. I was down at IU at that time, and I was the head of the men and women's team, and I was also in charge of the golf course.
Uh-huh.
And I was in my office, and one day Coach called and said, "Sam, come on over. I want to talk to you." And so I went over. He wanted to see me, and so I walk into his office, and he says, "Sam." He always just said Sam. And he says, "We're going to do a golf show." I said, "Really?"
We are?
We are. Yeah. He says, "Yeah." He says, "Nicholas has a book, Golf My Way. We're going to have a TV show, and it's going to golf your way." So I said, "Well, that sounds good, Coach." I said, "Keep me informed, as to what we're going to do." So I leave, and 2 days later, he calls me again. He says, "Sam, come on over to the office. Need to talk to you." So I walk in the office, and he says, "Sam, we're doing the golf show. Coke's going to sponsor it, and FootJoy's going to give us clothes and all that, and we're doing the show, and we're going to start it out at this spring."
That's funny.
So that's how it started, and Coach set the whole thing up, and it was fun. We would do 2 or 3 shows a day, and we had different outfits that we put on, and all that stuff. Yeah.
So you would film a month's worth of shows maybe in 2 weeks, or
we would probably film 2 or 3 shows, and it was, talking golf is not a hard thing for me.
Pretty fun, yeah.
He would pull up, and he'd pick me up at the club. We'd go up to Indianapolis to do the shows, and I'd get in the car, and he'd be driving, and he'd say, "Sam, what are we going to do today?" I said, "Well, I think we should work on the grip, and we should work on this and that." I my mental thing, what we should do today. He says, well, he says, Sam, I think we ought to do this, this, and this. I said, sounds good to me, Coach.
Let's do it. Let's do it. That's funny.
That's so good.
Julie says we still talk about that tree. That was a good one. There's Griselda. That's my sister-in-law from Texas. Griselda, how you doing?
Well, you get all the way in Texas.
Yeah, my wife's brother lives down there, and yeah. Oh, when we had football game, hey, Michelle gave us 99 stars.
I know, I've seen that.
Thank you,
awesome.
Michelle.
We go. It goes worldwide, Sam. If we,
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Michelle Geiersbach says this is so fun, Coach. Yeah, when earlier we were doing football games a couple years ago, and we had people from Northern California. Guy I went to high school with in Texas. We had Dan Roden would listen in Florida. So we've probably got 35 live viewers right now, 40.
Yeah, 25, 30 right in there.
So, but it'll get viewed over 1,000 times. People will jump on, jump off. People will watch it later tonight. Some people will watch it tomorrow. So it's I think Julie said she sent the link out. Yeah.
Yeah, once it's on forever. And people like the show Rob had on Monday, we were closing on 1,500, but they can watch it anytime, day or night.
Yeah, so
it's on.
There's a lot of insomniacs that follow Porch Time, and so they'll watch it at 2 o'clock in the morning and they can't sleep. Kevin put a poll out one time and said something like, I can't sleep, hey, how about anybody else? And they had 200 or 300 comments where people said, yeah, I can't sleep and I'm always up. And so like we'll have 400 or 500 views tonight, but by in the morning it'll be 600 or 700 views. Yeah, so it's
I think we would do better
maybe
if we
should get on FaceTime and I could see it once in a while.
Sam, you need to come in and run the midnight show. You can go midnight to 6 a.m. in here and talk golf.
So Michelle lives in Houston. Yeah, so Julie said Michelle's one of Dad's former players, and she lives in Houston.
So Michelle.
There's my mom. She said, I never golfed, but I lived a life. So
Michelle Hatfield played it from Fort Wayne. Yeah, what a great young lady she was.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And like you said, they still stay in touch with you, still follow.
Yeah, we hear from an awful lot of them, which is wonderful, and I think that's the special part of having coached.
Yeah.
It's hearing from all the kids and knowing they're doing well and all that.
Yeah. We had Eric Moore on. He's the Center Grove football coach.
Oh yeah.
And he was really good. I didn't know what to expect from him, and he was really good. I really enjoyed talking to him, and he talked about all the kids that he didn't consider it helping him. He considered it he was just coaching him, and we kind of made the point like there's a lot of kids that need football more than football needs them, and he helped them kind of get on the right path and stay on the right path. And he wouldn't really take any credit for it, but you could tell like how many kids he had a positive influence on. And I think coaching is one of the biggest positive aspects you can have on a kid. And I think it's interesting to see like Michelle. I mean, how long ago did she play? How long?
Oh, Michelle played in the she played in the mid-90s.
Yeah, so
and
25 years ago.
Been a good while ago.
Yeah, so I think that's neat.
Yeah, so. They were a special group of girls.
You got a hole in one? You ever hit a hole in one?
I've had 5 holes in one.
Have you really?
Yeah, and I haven't played since I was 28 years old. Now I won't tell you how old I am now.
Sure.
I'm 82 now. So.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
I would have guessed early 70s, but yeah.
Well, gee, you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I came tonight.
Right, I was gonna say, shot that in the butt right
Flattery
there.
will get you there.
Right.
So, do you remember all 5 shots?
Do I remember all 5 shots? I could probably come up with most of them. Yeah.
Any of them at the course?
I did. I had one on number 17, and I had one in Pat Johnson's outing, brothers outing.
Yeah.
I was playing with Pat, and I had it on hole number 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've come close once, and I mean it wasn't even really that close, but yeah. Do you think it's half luck, half skill, partial. I mean, you got to get the ball on the right.
Well, you're
path.
aiming at it.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, you expect it to go in, don't you?
Yeah. Well, see, that's my problem is I try to hit every shot in.
I aim at every shot in basketball too, but that doesn't work out.
Yeah. So
Sam, no big deal. It's not going to stand up.
Will Carson looking good,
Look at
Coach.
that.
Will Carson, yeah, there's the boy from California that came to IU, and he's, I think Will was out east and with maybe ESPN.
Really? Give us an update, Will. Let us know where you're at. So, one of the other things.
I got a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, jump in
What's
there.
your favorite hole on the course out there, Sam?
My favorite hole on the course, well, I love them all. It's hard to really pick up a favorite hole. I have so many of them, but I probably like, everybody likes number 12. They love 12 and they like number 4, but I think my favorite hole is number 15 because it's so competitive. The road hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not many people like that hole.
That's where I used to collect my golf balls on the country club.
That's where you rode down the road.
Right.
Yeah. So, a lot of people don't like that because of most amateurs.
Well, they slice, so they go out of bounds.
Yeah. We were playing there one time, and I had a friend of mine's got. I'm a bad slicer, but this guy is a really bad slicer. So, you just know that it's going in the road. So he hits it, and it goes real high, and it's going and there's a car coming.
Oh.
And we all just kind of froze, like, oh, this is going to be bad. It hits the middle of the road, takes a giant hop, car drives underneath it, and it lands behind it. That car goes by, never knew anything happened. We just all kind of walked away like we didn't, like nothing happened.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
This is going to be a summer where a car gets hit.
Because everybody cutting through the back.
Because everybody is going on the access road back there.
Yep.
Going into town, and they're having to take Country Club Road. And I have never seen so much traffic on a road. It used to be just a nice little quiet.
We could ride our bikes. We could ride our bikes on Morgan down there and never.
It's a thoroughfare now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be a car get hit this year.
That's a great point because there's so much more traffic now. Yeah, that's a good point. So
and I hope no one gets hurt.
Yeah,
right.
No kidding. Chip said, why was the tee box on 13 moved from the hillside down to the flat ground? I was going to ask you if that. I'd always heard that the tee box was built back into that hill because number 12's green used to be closer to the creek, right?
Right.
And then the 12 tee box was back on that hill.
Well,
right?
12 green was where. 12 green is where it is now.
It's always been there.
It's always been there.
Okay.
And then when you played it, you walked up the hill there. You came off the green, and there were steps that went up the hill.
Okay.
And it was on top of the hill. And probably the main reason for it was the carts and people didn't want to walk up the hill anymore.
Yeah.
And I couldn't let carts go up there. Because if they did, they would come right down and they'd be in the creek.
Yeah.
And so the hole got grown over. But that was a fun hole to play.
Yeah.
And years ago, my dad we had double tees. You actually played 18 holes. You played 9 holes with one set of tees. And then you had 9 holes with another set of tees.
Okay.
So that really came into play going up the hill.
Yeah.
And and then there used to be, and not many people will remember this, there was a pond right in front of the green.
Okay.
There was a lake right in front of that green.
Right in front of 12?
Right in front of 13.
13's green.
And so you're hitting from up above and you're hitting over the water. It was a great hole to play. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, so 13's tees were back on that hill, and were you hitting over the 12 green, like over the top of 12 green?
No, it was you were hitting straight at 13.
So you were more to the right.
You were off to the left. So
gotcha.
when you walked off at 12 green, you walked off the right side of the green and walked up the hill, back up the hill.
I got you.
And then so one round you would play at the top, and the other round you would play at the bottom. down where the shelter house is.
Yeah, and there's a little depression down there that by the creek on the would be the left side of 13's green. So that's probably where the pond was.
It was right in front, and then there was a bunker right in front of the green.
Green as well.
And then when that was taken out, and then my brother and I redid the green, and we left the bunker out. And the creek, there was a dam behind 14T.
Okay.
And that dam finally actually just basically filled up the little lake that was
there. Michelle said Coach told us he planted every tree on the back nine when we played for him in the 90s.
Well, my brother and I did. Yes, we did. Just about every one of them.
That's funny.
Not all of them, but just about. But I probably exaggerated a little bit.
I've probably hit every one of them.
Yeah. So. That's one of my only complaints that I have about the balls that are sold in the pro shop. None of them fly straight. Like some of them go straight for a little bit.
Now,
and then
Dean,
they go right.
they're all supposed to go straight today. They've made them all go straight.
Yeah,
The pros have trouble curving the ball today.
Really?
Yeah, they can't move it around like they used to. Yeah, when they had the old Bellata balls, you could make it hook or slice, and you played more shots. And they've made this ball now where you hit it, Dean, you should have it go straight.
That makes me feel good.
Right. It's not helping, Sam.
Now we know you need help.
Yeah. So is it the deepness of the dimples, or is it the softness of the ball?
Oh, it's the contour of the dimples and the contour of the ball.
So it makes it spin less.
Well, yeah, and it just comes off the club and a lot straighter.
Yeah, I think my clubs are too old, and I probably need a new set.
Julie,
what'd she say?
I love selling those $1 balls
for 10 or 12 times. Yeah. That's the worst. When
you should sign them and then see how many times.
That's mine.
Yeah,
that's the worst. Is when you take a new ball out of a sleeve and you hit it and you go, "Oh, that ball's gone."
Yeah,
brand new ball I hit one time.
Yeah. I sell those dollar balls, and like Julie said, I find them every day. Put them back in the barrel.
That's funny.
Before we went on air, I was telling him we used to live right there. Me and Timmy, when we was 7th, 8th graders, we'd ride down Country Club with buckets and pick up golf balls. Because, like he said, that's the hole that everybody slices on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could find millions of them out there, especially across the field.
Yeah, you should put like a little mark on each. This ball's been sold 5 times. This ball's been sold 6 times. Yeah.
Now you had to be careful if you was getting in that farm. Or Gene Carroll didn't like you in there.
Didn't he have the coyotes and the wolves and all that back in there too?
Well, I don't know that he had any of those, but they are back there. The coyotes, but Gene didn't want you in that field. He never planted it in anything, but he watched people.
He was growing golf balls when we'd come down through there. That's what it looked like.
I mean,
they'd hit that road and they'd ricochet way out this field.
Like a huge hop.
Yeah.
So Jeff says, how long did your family live at the Crystal? You lived there basically from the early 40s.
Yes, my parents moved into the golf course, a clubhouse in probably 32.
Really?
And 32, 33, somewhere around in there. And my brother was born there, and I was born there, and my sister, and we lived there all the way until my parents lived there until my dad got sick with cancer at 59 years of age in 1971, and then they moved out, and then we had bought the course, so I moved in and raised my family there, and then we stayed there until I went to Bloomington to take coach both teams and run the golf course in about 1990.
Yeah.
So I lived there a long time.
What's it like growing up on a golf course? It's like
it's a big playground.
Yeah,
I mean, it's you get to play golf every day.
Yeah.
I fell in love with golf when I was 2 years old. So it's the only thing I ever wanted to be. I never wanted to be a cowboy or a fireman or anything else. I wanted to be a golfer.
Yeah.
So it was just it was love.
Yeah. From right off the bat. So You use like 10 and 16. You sled down those hills in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, I sled down in this winter.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, my grandson and I bought him a real good sled 2 years ago, and we never used it for 2 years.
Right.
No
We haven't had any snow.
Right.
And when we had that snow, yeah, we went down 10, and then we went down 11, and then I said, let's go to the park. And I mean, there's no better hill in the world than the park hill.
Yeah.
And so we both went sledding there. I took my golf team down there one time. Michelle, I don't know if Michelle was part of that or not,
Yeah.
but I took. We came back on a trip and we hit the airport and there was snow. And I said, girls,
Come on, girls.
tomorrow be here at 10 o'clock. I'll make hot chocolate and we're going sledding.
That's funny. She wants you to sing the Barbie Girl song.
Oh no!
When I saw that, I wondered if that would happen.
Oh, singing is not a good thing anymore.
So she's a teacher at Kingwood.
She teaches, and she's got 2 children, and she's. I'm sure she is a great teacher. You know, 'cause
Sure.
she's a great person.
Yeah. Makes it an easy transition, doesn't it? Was there a driving range before the front 9 was built?
No, there was the driving range was put in about 2003 or 4.
Okay.
And we never had a driving range. We just actually we used to hit down where number 9 is now. It comes up the hill. We hit from the top of the hill there, and we hit down, and we could hit 200 yards.
Okay.
And that's where people practiced with their own balls, and then they'd go pick them up.
Yeah.
And that's where I shagged for Dale Morey.
Okay.
Dale would stop into town and hit balls, and he'd hit from the top of the hill there.
Yeah, and you have probably one of those big, like a sack on a post where you just pick the balls.
No, you leaned over and picked them up. And with Dale, when he hit them, you had a nice shag bag, and you opened it up, and he hit them so good you catch them.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you catch them in the
What
bag.
was that?
Huh?
You hit him and catch him in there in the shag bag?
No, Dale, the player would hit,
Right.
and you had a shag bag that you put the balls in,
Right.
and you'd kind of open it up a little bit, and you'd hit, and you'd come in and catch them like in a mitt.
Oh.
You
That's
know,
funny.
that was fun. You know, and hope
So you got hit in the noggin,
you know,
right?
the knuckles got whacked a few
Right.
times, and you know, but you could see the balls coming. You know, so yeah.
And they were on a steady flight.
Oh,
They
and
were-
when Dale hit him, you just stood there, and it was like picking blueberries.
That's funny. So you know the old, I guess you call it a driving range between like 7 and 8, that open spot where you used to. Any chance you can turn that into the driving range?
You know, the cost of doing something like that is
Not worth
really prohibitive, and then you couldn't monitor it. You'd have to, you know, people could get unfortunately to it from the back road at night, and
That's still access now, and that's the access road still, isn't it, going out?
yeah, that's Country Club
Country
Road.
Club, yeah.
And so, unfortunately, and you know, the driving range was great. It wasn't a big money maker particularly, but it was really great for the people, and it was great for me. I could give lessons, and people could come out and work on their games, and maybe if they had 40 minutes, they could run out and hit a bucket of balls and feel like they did something after working all day, and they got outside. So it was really great for the people.
Where will you give lessons now? What will you do now?
I probably won't be giving any lessons anymore.
Really?
Unfortunately, I just there's just no place to really
to do it.
What about events and things like that? I know there's been some weddings take place and things like the big tent that was set up out there every now and for events. Are you going to be able to do?
I probably until they finish, I won't know what I'll have, and probably I just don't know yet. You know, there's just a lot of things that we just don't know, and to speculate would be not good.
But you're not closing, and there's 18 holes.
There's 18 holes to play. We're
Yeah.
open. We're going to be there a long time.
Let's go back and revisit
Right
that. I
on,
wanted
yeah.
to do that. So when we very first came on, one of the things we were talking about, the whole point of having Sam on was to get the information out here and dispel some of the rumors that are going around. So one of the first things we talked about is we heard there's a rumor going around that the golf club's going out of business. So that's not true.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Right.
Businesses go down the hill sometimes, and people don't come down from Indianapolis and Greenwood and surrounding areas that if they're afraid of the highway, it could create a problem. But they can get there. There's not a problem.
Let's talk about this again real quick. So, like Sam just said, they're still open. So if you're watching it here in Martinsville, then you probably already know. But if you're watching from another city, if you're watching in Indianapolis or Greenwood or whatever, there is still access to the country club. Southbound 37 is gone. They've bulldozed it up. It's gone. It's a dirt path now. They moved all the traffic over onto southbound 37, and they have traffic
on the
northbound. Yeah, sorry. And they have traffic going in one lane in each direction. So you have to go past. Let's see if I can do this backwards. Let's see. I'm gonna switch hands.
I'm betting the under.
Yeah. So you go past the golf course. There's a barricade here, so you can't go any further. You have to turn right onto Morgan Street. You go about 50 yards, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And you make a hard right, and you feel like you're going into the parking lot of Prince of Peace Church. And there's a new access road that's built from that point on here on this. This is the new access road here, and that links Morgan Street to the golf course. So,
Sam, if we're out that way in the next couple of weeks, do you care if we're on our iPad, if we stop there and go live maybe, and then drive down and turn around and come back through there?
No,
good.
Feel free.
That at least put it on our site, and then people have an idea of where we're.
Yeah, and we can go
tag
out,
it in. Yeah.
Yeah, we can go out and tag people, and we can tag Julie in it. Let's see what she said. We're hosting outings still. Habitat for Humanity, for example,
That's
great
awesome.
organization. Great opportunity to support a great organization. So yeah, we can go live here in the studio, but we can also go live from Kevin's got a iPad.
We have another whole system we can take and set up.
No, that'd be great. That would help us a lot. Letting people know, and there's even people here locally that have had trouble finding, coming out.
Well, it's all. Well, I don't even remember this. There was no stop sign out there ever when we were growing up, and then one of my kids messaged me the other day going through there and said, "Dad, there's a stop sign at Country Club Morgan." I'm like, "What?"
Well, they had to put that in.
Sure, it was getting dangerous
because there's so much traffic coming down 37 and going up, and then the traffic coming off of Country Club Road.
Right.
Somebody was going to get. I forget that it's there. I've only traveled it for 60 years, and sometimes I forget to slow down.
Right.
Well, fortunately, it's going uphill, so it helps.
Well, and they've got some little rudders out there, or whatever you call them, speed bumps.
Speed bumps.
To help you out a little bit, to jog your memory.
To help you to remember. Yeah. Might need some of those on the cart pass there to keep people in line.
At times, there's no doubt.
Yeah. Michelle said this was fun. Love you, Coach.
Love you too, kid.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Early 1990s.
Yeah.
And it's still in contact like that to this day.
Yeah.
That's a bond that'll never be broken. Honestly, you can see that. That is beautiful.
Yeah. I coached my kids in Little League, and nothing at any, but it was the funnest time. I mean, my kids, my daughters are 2 years apart, and I was coaching both of them at the same time in basketball, and so we would have one practice, and then we'd go to the next practice, and they would have games on the same day, and so it was the funnest time I ever had coaching both of them at the same time, and we were running all over the place, and we're playing a game here, and then we got to hurry up and get to this game, and then we got it's fun.
Pain in the
at the time you think you're going nuts, but then when it's over with, you're like, wow, wasn't that fun?
I'd give anything to go back and sit in a hot, sweaty gym for 6 hours on a Saturday,
A pain in the butt that you'll never forget and you'll love till forever.
So we'll come out with the iPad and maybe say 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, make a little video and say, hey, just the course is still open. We can tag Julie in it, and then Julie can share it to your Facebook page and our own page and just get the information out. I think the biggest thing is we got to get the information to Indianapolis groups and Indianapolis pages and maybe Mooresville, and let the surrounding community know that, hey, we're still here, we're still open, we're still, like, nothing's changed on the course.
Yeah.
It's just how you get
we can
to the
share
course.
it to our Greenwood pages and our Mooresville pages and kind of send it out.
Yeah, it's just a little, people just get confused and they turn on that road. We have 3 signs out there. I had 2 of them, and Chip Keller had a couple signs made, and we got those out there, but they seem just when they turn, they're just going fast, and they don't think of making that quick turn into the church, because they're not sure that that's going to lead them into the golf course.
Yeah, and I think everyone thinks that they're going into the church. They don't realize that because you kind of go through.
They just built a continuation of the road
that,
there. The state did.
Yeah, so it I think once word gets out, and like you said, you had a lot of new people from last year from that came down and found the course, so you have those people. But I mean, it is intimidating when you're coming down 37 and you look over there and all you see is construction equipment and a big dirt mound, and you say, well, like, you realize that's the golf course, but you like, how do I get there?
How do you get in?
Yeah, there's orange barrels everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think if we can do that a couple times, 3 or 4 times this summer, come out and say, hey, don't forget, we're still here, we're still open. Yeah, so we'll definitely do that. But Chris Miller says Indiana legend. Yeah. So I mean, we didn't really get to the point of you playing on the tour, but you played 7 years on the PGA Tour from 62 to 69.
I played from 62 to 69 with a couple years off for health issues.
Okay.
I had back problems, and then I had hepatitis, and I've tried to play for a year and a half at about 155 pounds, and that was tough. I graduated from high school 175 pounds, so
you're down.
Played football and basketball there, so I was in good shape. So trying to play at 155 pounds and practice and do all that was not an easy job. But,
sure.
But I got to play.
Yeah. It's a great life, isn't it? I mean, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah. Jeff says, how much are memberships for 2021 season?
Same as it was last year, $20.50 for a single membership, $22.50 for a family.
For a family. That's a good deal for a family.
And that's with a cart.
With a cart. So you come out and play unlimited rounds.
All you want to play.
All you want to play.
Yeah.
Julie says, off the top of my head, $22.50 for a single membership, which includes carts.
That's now, it is after March 15th. It was $20.50 up till March 15th if it was paid for. Now it's after March 15th, so it's $22.50 and $26.50 for a family.
So still a great deal. I mean, like you said, unlimited golf whenever you want, as much as you want, with a cart.
We try to get that early fee in to help offset some expenses and that type of thing.
Spring expenses, to boost it. Yeah. So, well, Sam, I appreciate you coming in, man. I've had a blast. This has been fun. Maybe we come back this summer and do it again or whatever. So
be great. It was fun. This is very new to me. I don't know anything about all this podcast and.
He did a TV show with Coach Knight. I mean, I'm sure this is what I was going to say. Yeah. We're not in a sand trap yelling at the ball, so we're doing well.
Oh, you've seen the outtakes.
I asked. I talked to him about Coach Woodson earlier. I said I'm waiting for the videos for you and Coach Woodson making golf shots. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Michael is a great person, and it's a wonderful hire for IU, and they couldn't have found a better person. I hope he's successful because he certainly deserves it. And
he's a little bit before my time, so like he played 76 through 80, and so He's a little bit before. I mean, I know his name, and I know he was good, and I know he was Player of the Year, and only played in 6 games. And was.
They'd have had him and Bird. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened in that stretch.
So I know his history, but I don't ever really remember seeing him play. Yeah. So I didn't know.
Well, he could play.
Phenomenal.
And when
he could score like you couldn't believe.
Yeah, he was just smooth.
Yes, he's very
48
smooth.
in Illinois at Illinois, wasn't it? Is that what he put up?
I think he did. Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah. When was that?
79, 78, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it was over there.
He loves to play golf.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a golfer. He and Quinn and Scotty May and they love to get out on the golf course.
We ran into Laskowski and Kitch and Green and a few of them out there.
They all like to play. Laz,
and Coach Knight.
Laz is a really good player, and Kitch is a good player, and they all like to play golf.
So I'll tell you my favorite Coach Knight story, but Jeff has a question first. He wants to know if you were the anonymous donor that bought out Archie's contract for $10 million.
Gee, Jeff, I didn't think it got out.
And now memberships will be 6,000.
Right. That's all right. If he did it, we're in.
Yeah. So I'm about 16 or 17 years old. We tee off on the first hole, and there's 2 guys playing in front of us, and they have a flat tire. They're up by the number 1 green, and they have a flat tire on their card. I didn't think anything about it, so we putt out on number 1, and we walk up the hill on the tee on number 2, and it's Coach Knight and Bob Hamill standing on the tee box. I'm 16 years old. This guy just won a national. He just won his 3rd national championship. I'm like, this guy's God to me. You know?
Had a heart attack, didn't you?
Yeah. So we kind of look at him, and he said, our cart had a flat tire. He said, we called back to bring us out new, and he said, but in the meantime, you guys play through. And he said, when we get our cart, we'll play back through you guys. So I'm standing on the tee. You talk about your hands shaking, you know. So I hit a ball down there, and I pulled it left on 2, and I missed the green. So I put my club back in my bag, and I start to walk away. And he said, Coach Knight said, "You're not going to play that, are you?" And
He did the same to me, yeah.
I said, well, I don't know. And he said, hell, son, this ain't the U.S. Open. He said, get another ball out and hit one down there. He said, we got 4 or 5 between us down there myself. So they were just teeing one up and hitting it down there, teeing up another one, hitting it down there.
Same thing off the driving range, off 1. He did that to me.
Yeah.
I worm burn one. They told us we'll play through. And I put my head down and walk back. He goes, you're not playing that. Pick that damn thing up and hit another one. Then I nailed one. He goes, there you go. Yeah. Pucker factor.
So
Coach used to come up to Martinsville and play early in the morning. We'd play early in the morning.
Yeah.
And of course, his goal was to break 80.
Yeah.
And so we'd tee off on number 1, and if he made double bogey, we'd have to go back and play number 1 again. I can't tell you how many times we played number 1.
Oh, that's good.
I brought that up to him the other day. He came up and we took a ride out on the course, and I told him, I said, you remember playing this hole about 20 times until you made par?
That is good.
It's kind of like the saying, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can't break 80 if you start with a double bogey, so we gotta go back and start over. That's great.
I didn't mean to cut your story off, Dean.
Yeah. So I tee up the second one, and I, after he said, I hit another one down there. So I tee up the second one, and I hit basically the same shot. I pulled it to the left. Well, it hit the edge of the cart path, right where the cart path and the grass meet, and ricochets and bounces up in the middle of the green. I turned around and said, I meant to do that. And he just started laughing, So I thought that was pretty funny that I hit one down there, luckily, and he got a kick out of that. He thought that was funny. So Chip said, did you go to all the home IU games when Coach Knight was there?
Yeah, I started going probably. Well, I did. When I came back to Indiana, I got tickets. And then in the late 70s, I got to know Coach a little bit. And we started playing golf together. And then one night, about 10 o'clock, I don't know, it was about 1978 or something, I get a knock on the door downstairs, of course. You're living out there in the country. You don't know who's at 10 o'clock at night who's knocking, So I grabbed my shotgun because I always took it down, but I never loaded it.
That's funny. It was just for show.
And there stood a student manager, and he says, Coach Knight sent me up with these tickets. And I said, really? He said, here, these are tickets to the game, so you and your wife can come.
Oh, wow.
Well, of course, you know, how good of tickets were these? I was on the 4th row on the floor.
Nice.
And he made sure that I was with my back to the wall, so I didn't have to sit there on those bleachers. And so, yes, I never missed a game.
Nice.
And then, you know, what was really neat, Coach would take me on the road sometimes, and I'd get to travel with the team. And it was a great opportunity to see one of the greatest coaches of all time, you know, coach the team, and it was a neat experience.
Yeah,
I mean, worth of millions of dollars.
Yeah, you could have wrote a book about it.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of like John Feinstein
But,
did.
Yeah,
but
right.
I won't.
Yeah. That I feel like John Feinstein kind of betrayed him a little bit with that book. He let some stuff out that I don't think Coach Knight expected him to, and you know what I mean. And
Well, Coach really let him. He opened the door. I traveled with the team a lot that year, and knew John. And Coach really, he opened up, and so, you know, that's what he wrote was what he saw. But he probably should not have.
a lot of the stuff, yeah. So there's Michelle wants to tell a story. Absolutely.
Sure, Michelle.
Call in.
Yeah, Michelle, call in if you want.
Michelle, if you want to call in, I'm going to post my number, and we can get you live on the air. This is Kevin.
Kevin's going to post his number here in just a second. You can call in there. So there's a story about Coach Knight that I've always wanted to know whether it's true or not. So I've always heard that he was on number 4, got frustrated, took his bag off, threw the whole thing in the pond, got in the cart, and drove off. About 10 minutes later, he comes back, takes his shoes, socks off, rolls his pants up, wades out in the pond, finds his bag, pulls it up, unzips the pocket, pulls out his car keys, and throws it back in and drives off.
That's not a true story.
I never thought that was. I've heard it from 2 or 3 different people, and I'm like, I just
no.
yeah. I wanted to get that straight from you to say no, that's not
No.
true. Yeah. So, yeah, was he? Had he played much golf before he got together with you, or did you kind of introduce him to it?
No, he had played golf. His father played golf and used to take him to the golf course, and so he had played quite a bit of golf. Coach came up with Dr. Pulitzer is how I met him. They came up to play golf one afternoon, and I happened to be out on the course working, and I think it was on hole 13 that George Pulitzer from Bloomington, who was a terrific player, member of the Bloomington Country Club, and he and Bob were good friends, and he introduced me to Bob, and I watched him hit a ball or something, and I tried to help him a little bit, and so and that led to lessons, and being a big tall individual. He had a reverse pivot. In other words, when he swung, his weight went to the left side and then back to the right. And that was always a hard thing to break. And it's tough for taller people. They have a tendency to do that. So, you know, that was the one thing that we worked on a lot. And from then on, you know, he would come up and I'd help him, and then we'd play a lot, and I'd help him out on the course, chipping and putt. He was a real good chipper and putter.
Had good hands.
Had great touch, yeah.
He didn't have fun that sand trap that day, though.
No, that, you know, when we were in
That was over Legends, though, wasn't it?
When we were doing that show, we had set up, and we were getting ready to video do the scene.
Sure.
And the camera went bad. So we started practicing in the bunker, and you know, I was telling him, you know, kind of how to do it and this type thing, and he hit every one of them out there about 3 feet from the hole. He hit them all perfect. And
This is Michelle.
and then he
went live.
and then went live, and,
Hang on
and
1 second.
things went bad.
With sound.
Hi.
Sam, we got Michelle on the
I
phone
want to
here.
talk to Michelle I'm Michelle Hatfield. I want to talk to Sam.
Okay, he can hear you. You're live on, and you're on the speaker too, so everybody can hear you.
Now, don't embarrass me, Hat.
Coach.
Yes.
Hey, do you remember when Coach Knight took us to Bay Hill?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, took us to Disney World too.
So you were gonna pick him up at the airport after the Michael Lewis incident, and you had to tell us all like, don't talk, like be quiet, don't say anything, and we're gonna bring Coach Knight on spring break with us. And we
Yes.
were like, oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah. I
And
think
it was the coolest thing ever.
was that
You know,
when Cleveland State beat Indiana in the first round?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he knew we were going to spring break, and so
He went with y'all.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just got out of town.
He wanted
just
to get out of town, and so he came.
That's
He
awesome.
came down with the girls, and they were just awestruck the whole trip.
Yeah, we had to like stay away from you guys in the restaurant, but it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, we played Disneyland and Bay Hill, and you
Yeah,
know.
you took us to Bay Hill. I got to see Fred Couples for the first time
Oh,
ever.
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we always went to Bay Hill and watched the tournament, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was. Yeah.
Freddie had a
But we
decent
had-
swing.
But we had Bob Knight with us, so we got to go to some senior tour player.
Yeah, I went to
like,
to Larry Ziegler.
yes, and we got to watch the tournament from his backyard.
Yeah, he had a house right there
Oh,
at Bay
he
Hill.
Lived on the
Yeah.
course.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Larry and I played together, and he loved Coach Knight, and so it yeah, I remember that.
Thank you, Coach.
You want to say anything else to him here?
You're
No.
the best. No, he's just the best.
Oh, Hat, you're the best. How's those two youngins you got?
They're great. My son just got first in pole vault, and
Wow.
it's awesome.
Well,
Life's
your
great.
daughter is she's playing soccer.
She's playing soccer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So this is the best college golf coach ever, if you would.
That's awesome.
Well, you're
So
nice to
thank
say
you.
that.
This has just been the nicest night ever listening to you, Coach.
Well, I think Dean's going to definitely have him back on again this summer,
Yeah.
and we're going
Yay!
to see what we can do to help things out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in,
Yay.
Michelle. I really appreciate
All right.
it.
Thanks,
Love you,
Michelle.
Coach. All right. Bye.
All right, hon.
Bye.
That was awesome. And you got another big long message, I think, from your former.
Yeah, Gail. Hold on, let me see if I can get this scrolled up right. Thanks, Coach, for all you've done for the game of golf, for young people, for
Oh,
women's
Gail's
golfers.
hilarious.
Yeah, for the state of Indiana, and for me along the way. There, let's see.
Yeah, click on.
There
see
isn't
more.
a better teacher or storyteller around. The Carmichaels are Indiana treasures in plain sight. Yeah, I was really excited when I stopped at the course. You know, we were kind of putting together everything that everybody that we wanted to get, and like I want to get Jerry Seating on here, but I thought it's kind of unrealistic. But as it turns out, it's not.
No, Jerry's great.
He's going to be here in a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
weeks. Yeah. So
He's a golf nut.
yeah.
He's down in Florida playing golf.
Yeah.
Right.
we had Mo.
Mo,
on,
yeah.
And Mo Morardi.
Mo,
and
yeah.
He still plays with Jerry, and he said Jerry can smack it around.
Oh,
He
Jerry can play, and
Yeah.
Mo. I've been helping Mo. Mo's getting pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mo was telling us a little bit, you know, that they play together a lot. So, and
My
so,
two favorite coaches,
yeah, that's
Jerry and Mo.
Yeah. So then like I wanted to get you know, come on, and I was like, I was thinking, I don't know, it's like the Facebook stuff. I knew you wouldn't know anything about it or whatever. So we stopped in there, and I was glad Julie happened to be there because I didn't think you would come, but I thought, well, Julie probably will do it. And as soon as I said something, you were like, yeah, that sounds like fun or whatever. And I was floored. I was so happy when I left her. I was trying to be cool on the inside, like, yeah, but I was so excited when you said yeah. So I've been really looking forward to this since we talked.
Tough week for me work-wise, just busy. I come in late, and I'm trying to hurry because I'm figuring you or Bob will show up, and we don't like leaving the guests sitting out there. This is where I live, on this end. This is the studio. And so I'm in there running around. I don't hear anything out here. So I look in here, and I see someone sitting. I'm like, so I come walking here. Here's Sam. How you doing? I was like...
Well, you
Sam Carmichael's in my studio, and didn't say a word to anybody.
You got to be early.
You were early. That wasn't the deal.
It's on time all the time.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I told Sam, I said, we'll get there about 6:45, and we'll go live at 7.
Sure.
I left my house. It was 6:35, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to make it. And, of course, I caught every red light between there, and I was driving like a...
If you didn't have to be here, you drove on through.
Yeah, it'd been straight
3 minutes.
So. But, yeah. So... Yeah, you can tell the influence you've had on some of the former players, and everything. And I like we touched about on it earlier. It's been you can tell you've had
all that bond's there forever. Yeah, you can tell.
So,
good stuff.
Yeah. So, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, and I've had a blast. It's been fun. So we'll definitely swing by the course this summer and do a couple little live promos, for 10 minutes or so, and maybe and just keep getting the word out that
that'd be great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we're still here, we're still open.
We need the help.
Yeah.
So when you hear the Porch Time guys are here, you'll know it's one of us or one of our other guys. So we're out there knocking on your door, filming.
And so we've got shows almost every night. So on Monday nights we do Music Monday with Rob Helms, and he does all the summer concert series out at Cedar Creek and at the free concerts downtown. So he brings the acts on here that we're gonna have this summer, and they play a little music and do that. And then we have a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays called Junk in the Trunk, and it started out as trying to sell like used stuff, and it's kind of turned into a variety show of Billy just kind of hosting it and having people call in and talk
silliness.
About, just kind of silliness.
And that's
or
okay.
Whatever. Yeah,
people need to laugh.
And then we have this. We have this every Wednesday night, and then on Sunday nights, Kevin has the original Porch Time show, and we have guests come in. Habitat for Humanity is one of the people we have come in. Wellsprings has been on. It's just anything community related that we can do for Martinsville or Morgan County or whatever. Yeah. So we're here to support the community and support anybody we can. We have a relationship with Brain Chills.
Yes.
And they're not a sponsor of us. They don't give us any money or anything, but they're a small business that we're trying to help out. So, we went and did a live remote from their restaurant and showed all the food that they have and everything they serve, and it got 5,000 views, and their, business went through the roof. I
stopped in there the other day, and I stopped there just because it's right on my way, and that doesn't help this. But one of the gals posted they were down because their computers, and someone said the Porch Time crew is going to have to find a new place to eat tonight. Because I think 2 times last week, you went, I went, Michelle or Corey went, and I went, and different times a day because we each come through there different times a day. But that happened like twice, and like one of you guys are always in here.
Yeah.
Like, we like your food. I mean,
they've got
good ice cream.
They've got this ice cream. It's called banana pudding, and it's hand dipped, and it tastes like banana pudding. So they also have this peanut butter drizzle, and so
that's right down there by the American Legion.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Legion,
yes,
so,
exactly.
Well, there's nothing better than ice cream.
Yeah, so
I'm an ice cream addict.
Yeah, they have good ice cream.
Yeah. So anyway, Chip says league starts next week. Steve Stevens said Sam is an awesome guy. So.
Oh, Stevie, yeah.
I like when Steve gets on here because he usually gives Kevin a hard time about.
I used to work with him at Twig.
Stevie knows all the history around here of sports too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. He played league up until last year.
They went to Florida last winter, but I don't know. Steve, did you? I mean, I guess we shouldn't be broadcasting where he's at. But
Steve, are you back in town? I used to work with him at Twig for.
He played softball with my grandfather. They used to play fast pitch. We play slow pitch now, but those guys played fast pitch, back in the day. And Steve, he grew up with my grandma and grandpa playing and hanging out with those guys, so I know him pretty well. So he's good. He's a good dude. So
He's a pain in my butt, is what he is.
that makes him a good dude.
Playing with Irvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
played with Irvin. Yeah, so,
Coach,
I played a lot with Irvin.
Yeah. They said he was pretty good.
Irvin was very good.
Yeah.
Irvin was a good player.
But
Now the clubs could fly a little
Yeah.
bit once in a while.
that's what I heard. I've
He-
heard.
They were slick in his hands.
Yeah. He didn't have the grips were bad, weren't they?
Oh, I played with Irvin, and Irvin and Jeannie would come out and watch me play when I was on tour.
Follow you around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bonds,
Yeah.
John and Joanne.
Yeah. Every time my grandma was the one that taught me to play, and she took me out there. We used to go to the driving range in the back, and
Yeah.
hit balls and pick them up, and she showed me how to play. And I mean, every time I play, I think about her. I mean, it's fun. I mean, she never could. When I played with her, she never could hit it very far, but man, she always hit it straight, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
and she could putt like crazy, man.
Jeannie was a nice player.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, she loved playing.
Yeah, she loved playing.
Yeah, she sure did. So, well, Coach, we've been on an hour and 51 minutes. It seems like we've been on 10 minutes. You know what
Wow.
I mean? Isn't that
No
crazy?
kidding.
So I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, we'll stop
Well, I
by.
appreciate you having me. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, I think Julie is a member of the Porch Time now. So, Julie, you can share anything that you see on here, and we'll do. You can share this to any of the pages that you belong to. And Kevin's got we got a Greenwood page, we got a Center Grove page, we got a Mooresville page. So we'll share this video to those pages too, so people can see it, and we'll get the word out that everything's.
I do want to say one thing, and Julie, I don't know if Julie remembers, but I was just a young. We were all young, but we actually used to ride the bus together there for a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit because we all lived in that same
Sure.
little area, and they would drop her off right out there, out on the highway sometimes.
Yeah.
Right out there in front. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
But I wanted to get into some of the stuff with Julie. I mean, she Stanford, all the stuff, but we'll do that next time. We didn't really get to it, but I think that'd be a good interesting. I mean,
I remember.
Yeah, she remembered.
That's awesome.
So
We'll certainly stay in touch, and like we said, one of us will come out and do live remotes or something, and we'll stay in touch, Sam, and we'll
Great.
see what we
Appreciate
can do
it.
to help for sure.
yeah, so
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
yeah, it's
Thank
a good
you.
time. It's kind of laid back and just kind of sitting around. I love it that some of your former
Oh
players
yeah,
got on.
that's the best.
And yeah, we'll do a better job of getting the word out early next time so that they can find the link and watch it live.
Well, we can go back to some of the individuals that are on tonight and say, hey, we're having him on in August or something
Whatever,
again.
yeah.
Send it out. So
I was surprised to hear from Will. He never did say where he was.
yeah, he said Bristol.
Yeah, he said he's in Bristol, and I read it, and then I think we were talking
Okay.
about something, but yeah, right there he is. Yeah, he said in Bristol, Connecticut
Okay, I knew he was. I thought he was up there.
at ESPN. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
You got friends all over the world, Sam.
Yeah, he worked at Disney ABC cable.
yeah. So
Yeah, Will.
That one, Sammy Wilson, Coach Ice Cream, but TCBY is
Sammy
better.
Montgomery, yeah,
Yeah.
TCBY. We always stopped at those. Sammy lives. She's from Kentucky.
That's awesome.
let's see what
She's yeah. Oh yeah, we never missed her.
Paris, Kentucky, studied sports management at Indiana University.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time.
Sammy, we appreciate you getting on. You got any good stories? You got any dirt you could share?
No.
The last one for me, going back to the outtakes, the one I always felt bad for you on this one because you guys were in the clubhouse or pro shop, and it's like 10 takes, and after every take,
That prune.
there's Coach Knight. He's so big above you, and he's tapping you on the shoulder. It's okay, Sam. We'll get through it.
Yeah,
and
well,
you'd slip, and all of a sudden he gets out and he gives it the old.
I was trying to do that commercial for air conditioning, and they, I could ad-libbed it very good, but they gave me this script, and I had to remember this script, and and I just couldn't get it memorized. It just didn't rhyme with anything.
Well, you finally get it, and
No,
then
I don't know.
He ruins it at the end because he goes, "We'll be right back," and gives it that.
Yeah, but I didn't ever get it. He finally cut me. He finally did it himself.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, that was about a 10-taker. They needed to put a screen up there so I could
Right,
run it.
monitor or something.
Me and Biden need that.
That's funny.
There's Will, and then Sam comes back.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for my time in Bloomington. Thanks, Coach. And then Sammy said, "I'm sure we all have some stories." So that's the best thing. That's one of the things I told my kids about playing. Like, you'll remember plays here and there and games that you won, but you'll remember your time off the field. Just like Michelle talking about going to, the story with Coach Knight and going and getting to go to watch the tournament at Disney, and that's the stuff that you remember.
We always, when we went to Florida, and when I took the boys down there, we always went to the Bay Hill. Yeah. And I'd take the teams to Bay Hill so they could see it, and the Bay Hill people let us in free. They gave us free tickets and let us come in for a day, which was neat. And then when Coach probably came a couple times on the trip, spring break, and he played golf
when they got out.
But he played golf with and I'd play, and we'd play with the girls, and it was just a great trip. And of course he knows everybody,
Sure.
And everybody knows him, and so he calls out to Disney World, and we go out there and play. Doesn't cost the school's paying for
Sure.
it, but it doesn't cost the school anything. They let us play for nothing, and we just had a great time. And he stays at the hotel. Karen was with him.
Yeah.
And so she was with him, and we just had a great time. It was, I know he would rather been playing
coaching.
someplace, but no, we'd have a great time, and I know the girls had to just be, wow.
Yeah. Like Michelle said, they were in awe the whole time.
Yeah.
I sent through a mutual friend of ours that knows him down there. I'd sent him a big, long, nice letter about 4 months ago when he first, not long after he'd moved back, and we were trying to get him if he wanted to come up and hang out and talk.
Yeah.
But nothing back yet. But we're still trying.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to have you two both in here.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's just not only you, but that era during the 80s, 90s of Indiana basketball and things like that growing up. Just special moments for so many people, and you're involved in that.
Well, you think of IU back in that time. The coaches they had was Coach Knight, Coach Yeagley, Sam Bell, Coach Councilman.
Yep,
Doc Councilman.
Councilman.
And I'm sure. Lynn Loring, the tennis coach.
Yeah.
They had. Wow.
Yeah, they had
what school is going to have that many great coaches in one house?
And I think Coach Yeagley gets overlooked a lot just because soccer's not as popular back then.
Right? Yeah, and he was kind of forefront.
8 national championships.
He was unbelievable down there. What a great coach and what a good guy. I mean, and the thing is, they were all good people.
Yeah.
You could talk to all of them.
Yeah.
You could go in. I would go in, and I'd talk to a coach and get his ideas. Talk to Coach Councilman about things.
Sure.
How many national championships did he?
He's got a million.
Yeah. He was just unbelievable, and they would all give you help. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Because when I started coaching, I never coached. I taught, but I hadn't really coached the teams, and so it was a learning process. And so I would go in and pick brains.
Did you enjoy playing or coaching more?
Oh, I enjoyed both of it. I would have liked to play longer.
Sure.
I didn't play till I was after 28, but you know, as I look back on it, yeah, I would have liked to play more. We're all competitors and we want to play, but you know, the coaching was fun, building a team and you know, being associated with the kids, and they were all great students. I think my girls ended up with 23 years of a GPA somewhere around 3.4, 3.5.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, and the boys that were the same way. They're all out there. Their GPA was over 3.2, 3.3, and they're all in business school.
Yeah.
You know, the Kelly School of Business and
yeah, they're not taking chump classes.
Right.
I mean, they were unbelievable, class people, and they are today.
It makes it easier when you surround yourself with people you want to be with. You know what I mean? I mean, when you like Michelle, you know, and Sammy, you know, you can tell, like you just said, they're good people that you want to spend time with, that you want to be around with. You know, I mean, the worst thing you do is think, God, I got to go to practice today and deal with these.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it was quite an experience, and you certainly there was tough times, and
Sure.
you know there was some tears here and there,
Sure.
but you know, it was great times.
Yeah. So it makes the ending that much better, you know.
Right on.
Yeah. So, well, like I said, thanks for coming in.
Okay,
Coach.
thank you for having me.
Thanks, Sam.
So yeah, we'll get with you sometime like later this summer, and we'll do it again. And I mean, I had a blast, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And if you've got friends that, you know, some of the former players, if you're out there, and that you can share this video with them, tag them in it, and let them watch it, and we'll look forward to the next time. So,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dean.
Yep.